I've just wrapped up on another day of doing sound for this new feature film I'm on, my fourth for 2018, here with Stanley, who is one of the actors as a gangster in this setting. And I'm just going to explain a bit about how I'm placing the lav mic on his costume, because you know, there are hundreds of different tips as to how you can place lavs on people, and it really is a fine art and craft to itself. So I'm going to explain this one. So first of all, I say what I'm using here. I've just got one of my Electrosonics UM200 series, which, you know, they're a little bit of the older series from Electrosonics, so I think they're really, really good value in terms of their quality and the price you can get them from. So yeah, it's got the clasps there, and that clasp just goes onto the waist belt. That makes sure it's nice and secure, and because it's sort of mounted up there on the waist belt, there's no chance that this pulls up a little bit that it might get seen, like if it was mounted on like just the back of the clip of his trousers. And then I've got basically the lav running up around this side. Now with his costume, you can feel this, well, not in a video, but trust me, it's basically a bit scratchy and noisy, this sort of plasticky-like material there is. And so my plan for how to work with this, because actually I got the director to send me photos of the cast and their costumes and so forth that he was buying or renting for them during the pre-production before we even started. So even though I didn't get to see it, I didn't go around with him to get it, I still had like an idea of what I had in for me. And so even before I necessarily like felt this beforehand, I could sort of have like an idea of quickly what I'm going to do. And so what I decided immediately when I saw it was, we can't put the lav mic right next to the material, literally 0.5 millimeter away from it, directly on it, because that would just be too loud. So I wanted to sort of get the lav mic a bit away from this material, because even like a few centimeters makes a big difference versus being 0.5 millimeter next to it. And so I've kind of basically positioned it up here. But the problem is that when the with this, we've sort of got these layers of this, and this is cotton, so cotton is nice and soft, and this is basically the perfect material you really want, you know, to have your lav mic situated in. And so the issue though is, if I was to do it right underneath, I could perhaps hit like the plasticky zip part, or might be in sort of the hair of the chest, and also you've got multiple layers of material on top, so I don't want it to be underneath, and I don't want it to be on this side either, because then it gets seen. So ideally I want it to be between these layers. But how do you get it in between? There's no way to sort of run it in without being seen, unless you make a small snip in the costume. And that's basically what I did there. I just, of course, before you go cutting away at costumes which are irreversible to roll back ever, unless you're like really good at sewing perhaps, you do want to check in with the appropriate people like the costume department. Although in our case, because we're like a super low budget film, we just basically costume, hair, makeup person is all the same person. So I checked in it's okay with her, I checked in it's okay with the director, you know, who is paying for this, and of course it's okay with the actor that they don't mind, you know, snipping that, but generally the actor's pretty good about what you can do with your costume. And so yeah, I just made a very small snip, and so then the wire just sort of runs up through here. The wire just runs up through here and through that snip in here, and then I just taped it in between, and that's located perfectly, just one layer behind. And I got a bit of tape, and I did tape the wire to here, just so there's a strain relief, so that if, you know, there's some active scenes going on there, so if the wire gets tugged on, it will sort of be stopped here, and you won't hear cabling noise come up to this. And I think that's I think I'll summarize that as the end of my point, what I'm saying about the lav mic. And yeah, got any questions about or tips about what your lav mic techniques are, write it down in the comment down below.